Hey there, I'm Nick, and this is Thought Factory. I work in a factory, and my job can be boring at times, so I have lots of time to think of interesting things and come to conclusions from a unique perspective. I'll be discussing whatever's on my mind, no script, and I'll be beating Bloons Tower Defense 5 levels during that. Come for the Bloons, stay for the commentary. Hopefully, anyway, till I learn to edit. Whew! Finally fucking nailed that bitch. I've been working on that intro for a while, the last 3 videos or something. I had a kind of rough intro going, but it's better than anything that I had come up with so far. I think I had an intro. If any of you guys are interested, I had an intro in the first like 50 or so videos that I did, and it was like, I mean, I had it memorized. I can't even remember what it is right now, but it was memorized, and it was pretty decent. But I think this one's better, because I think it focuses more around the fact that I work in a factory and that I have a lot of time to think, because that's what a lot of these commentary videos are. So just so you guys know, because most of you viewers are probably new, I don't really talk too much about what's going on in the video. I don't talk much about the balloons. But if you guys want to watch it, I'm pretty much going to run through every single level in Bloons Tower Defense 5, and I'm going to try to beat it on every difficulty, from easy to impoppable. So there's 4 difficulties there: easy, medium, hard, and impoppable. And I work through them in sequence. It's in a series playlist on my channel. If you guys are interested, it's called Just Win, because all of them are just wins. Maybe there might be some videos not in that playlist, but on my channel that aren't wins, but I just won't put them in the playlist. So if you guys are interested in watching any of the videos in sequence, you can go ahead and do that and watch my progress from absolute dog shit to a little bit better than dog shit. I think I'm 85, 86 videos in now, and I feel like I'm just starting to figure this out a little bit. So yeah, if you guys like this type of stuff, you can subscribe. I'm going to be doing a 1,000 subscriber giveaway. When I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'll pick somebody in some kind of way. I'm not sure how, but yeah, gonna go from there. So usually I just talk about whatever the hell's going on, and I don't really have any things that I can think of off the top of my head. Give me one. Sorry about that. I had to get my list. It's actually called my list of opinions that nobody asked for, and it's just a big giant list of talking points for different, like just a bunch of different shit. But I forgot that I actually tend to do quotes, and I have a quote of this video that I'm going to tell you guys here. See if you guys can figure it out by the end of the quote who it is. Some of you guys might know. Did you hear about the rose that grew from a crack in the concrete? Proving nature's law. I'm just going to start over. Did you hear about the rose that grew from a crack in the concrete? Proving nature's law is wrong? It learned to walk without having feet. Funny, it seems to be keeping its dreams. It learned to breathe fresh air. Long live the rose that grew from concrete when no one else even cared. Tupac Shakur. Tupac. My brother. He actually said that in a song. I can't remember which song it was, but I heard him a little bit later. A little bit later, like 25, 30 years later. There was a video on YouTube that this is obviously when he died. He's been dead for, I think he died before I was even born. So he's been dead a long, long time. But this video was somebody interviewing him about that song lyric specifically. And he was explaining it to some white lady, had some short-haired white lady. If I can find the video, I'll post it in the comments, or sorry, in the friggin' description, so you guys can watch it. But it was a really good video, because it's like he's trying to explain to her how it just doesn't make sense. And it's like, that's what he's comparing himself to, and comparing, I think what's really interesting about that is that you can apply that to a lot of people's situations. It doesn't have to be a black person coming out of the ghetto or coming out of the hood. It can be from a white person coming out of the situation that they're in. Or you can just, I tend to like guys that have an upbringing that's like really odd. I think like someone like Elon Musk, I talk about him a lot, and I know a lot about this guy because it's just like, It's really impressive, that he came from the middle of nowhere in South Africa and like moved to Canada, then ended up moving to the States, starting a company with his brother, and that him and a bunch of other founders ended up becoming like the PayPal mafia. It's like commonly known that they were kind of the ones who built a lot of what Silicon Valley is today. These guys are like Reid Hoffman, Peter Thiel. Trying to think of some other ones. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but and these guys have their own unique, interesting stories in and of themselves. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to just be Elon Musk himself, any white guy or whoever it is. But like these people, like, they're interesting. I'm a huge fan of the Joe Rogan podcast, and he's another interesting character where it's like most people don't know that, like, he doesn't know who his real dad is. He has a stepdad. So that's a huge positive and a huge plus. But it's like growing up, he's talked about it quite a bit in his podcast. Not quite a bit. He doesn't bring it up often, but if you're listening, you can definitely pick up on these things, because he's not trying to sell anybody on a story, like a sob story. And that's the big thing that I think gets caught in today's society, that a lot of people, they do, right, is they try to sell people on like a sob story, and it's like he's not a victim. He's just like, this is just what occurred. And I think that in that quote here that Tupac was describing is that, did you ever hear the rose that grew from a crack in the concrete? It's like it's an impossibility is what it appears to be, right? Proves nature's law is wrong. Like, how it learned to walk without having feet. Like, how the hell did it do it, right? It's a miracle. It kind of reminds me, for some reason, of like ants. Whenever you see, growing up, there was a lot of, I don't know why I spent a lot. I mean, when you're a kid, you just spend a lot of time close to the ground. So that's probably the reason why, for me, that I have this, phenomenon seems so prevalent in my memory. I mean, I was one of those kids too. I used to burn ants with a magnifying glass. So, I mean, take from that what you will, but that's what fucking happens. Kids do that shit. So, I used to spend a lot of time close to the ground, and if you ever paid attention to where the hell ant hills were, it was wild. Like, it'd be in between concrete. Like, you'd have where a concrete break would be, right, like a line, and then you would have like a whole ant hill right in between there. And it was like, I used to think about that then, and I still think about it now, and I don't know why, but if there's any ant experts out there, maybe somebody listening is an expert on ants and they can explain this. But like, why the fuck there, out of all places? Like, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. You'd think that like in the grass it would be better, but I don't know if maybe it's also just that it was noticeable, right? Because you'd notice it if it was on the concrete, but you wouldn't notice if it was in the grass. It would be hidden, right? But I noticed a bunch of them in the grass too, and I fuck with those ants too. So, I mean, the craziest ones were carpenter ants. There used to be, I actually have my neighborhood in my head mapped where the wildest ants were, and across from my neighbors, our yards were attached to the backyard, and across from their house on their sidewalk, I used to hang out there and just hang out on the sidewalk. And I remember every once in a while, like, the people who lived in front of the house would come out and like shoo me away, and they'd be like, "What are you doing? Go home." And I'd be like, I'm playing with the ants." And it was like there was literally like these big giant carpenter ants, and I was always blown away because they were the biggest, strongest ants in the whole neighborhood. I used to know. I was like, if I had to pick an ant army to choose that was gonna have my back, I know which ant army I'd pick, because it was those fucking monsters. They were huge. Like fire ants, yeah, they would. Actually, I never really had any problems with fire ants. Like, maybe it was too. I kind of knew to stay away from them, but they were small, tiny little ants. So anyway, this just all goes back to that Tupac Shakur quote, which reminds me of I try to take a lot of things back to relate them back to the factory. And I think a famous rapper, he died a little while ago. He's one of one of the guys I work with. It's one of his favorite rappers. I'm trying to remember his name, but I think he actually started in a factory. One second here. He died from a Percocet overdose. I just gotta Google it so I can find it. Many of you probably already knew that it was Juice WRLD. Jared Higgins. I didn't actually know his real name, but I think from what I worked with this guy for months. We worked together 8 hours. 8 hours. Actually, it was 9 hours at that point. 9 hours a day, and we'd spend pretty much all of our breaks together too. And he would tell me about things like this guy Juice WRLD, and I would absorb the information. And I actually had listened to Juice WRLD's. If you guys are ever interested, there's a really interesting tape. Maybe I'll put a link in the description for that too. But he goes on Westworld or Westwood, and he freestyles for like an hour to Eminem beats, like maybe 45 minutes. But he does it twice, and it's one of those things where it's like, it's just really impressive. It's one of those things where you sit back and you just go, how the fuck does somebody do that? Like that long, 45 minutes to Eminem beats. Like Eminem's got some good beats, but like, this guy from a factory, it's like, it's a rose grown from concrete. What the hell? But anyway, I'll leave you guys there. Subscribe, doing a giveaway at 1,000 subscribers. No shout outs today. Goodbye.